Yeah, I do. The only real international experience I have is having spent a year working as a missionary in Honduras. And living outside the United States is a really powerful experience because you not only learn how others live, but you realize things about your own country. So as an example, when I lived in Honduras, it was a military dictatorship and nobody could vote for anything. I had taken voting for granted in the United States. Well, living there made me realize not to take voting for granted, and it made me a more politically informed and engaged person. But that experience of living outside and kind of looking at the nation from outside has been a powerful one for me. And in the Senate, the Senate has responsibility for treaties and foreign affairs issues sometimes that the House doesn't. And I will take that very seriously. Issues dealing with the Middle East, issues dealing with our competitors, economic competitors, India and China, issues dealing with the Americas. I'm fluent in Spanish. I think since about 2000, the United States has ignored policy from Canada to Tierra del Fuego. And what you see is China making huge investments in South America, and the United States not even paying any attention. I think that's a very dangerous thing. I think we need to have a more robust diplomacy, north and south, not just Europe, Middle East, India, China. We got to be playing diplomacy north and south on our own hemisphere, and that's something I'd love to work on. I mean, that's a big question, and I think you're right that with the close of the war in Iraq and with the drawdown in Afghanistan, we need to be focused more on our international economic strength. I maintain that the strength of our country internationally is about four things: military strength, economic strength, diplomatic strength, the strength of our moral example. I felt like during the 2000s we projected military strength, but we let our moral example erode often. We were not economically strong because we were making decisions at home that were jacking up the deficit in unsustainable ways, and we didn't do diplomacy very well. So I think we're doing diplomacy better. I think we're getting the right balance on our military strength. I think our economy is coming back, our moral example is coming back, but you're right, there's sort of a next iteration of what our foreign policy is. And I will say this, Chris, I think foreign policy for 50 years was a Cold War era foreign policy. We're against the Soviet Union, then the Soviet Union goes away. Now we're in a world where it's not the dangers are not primarily nation-state warfare. They're Al-Qaeda and multinational terror organizations. It's cyber security attacks on our electrical grid and our financial institutions that take place often in a kind of a covert way from China, even with the knowledge of the Chinese government. So there's all kinds of different challenges. We have to commit to fighting tomorrow's challenges, not yesterday. So I hope we really get heavily into economic trade and international economic strength. I hope we use robust diplomacy again, and we see some good signs of that. That's important. But then we got to prepare for tomorrow's challenges, and I think they'll largely be economic ones.